supposed to write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line with the point and with the given coordinates and having the given slope. So our given point is negative 6, 2. Our given slope is 8. If you write point-slope form, and the reason that I would choose that is because you have a point and you have a slope. This will be my x1, this is my y1, 8 is my slope. Replace y sub 1 with 2. Replace x sub 1 with negative 6. And I forgot here I have to replace the slope. Replace the slope with 8. I'm not going to put 8 in parentheses. You can if you want. I'm not, because there's nothing that's being added to it. Everything that's being multiplied to it is in parentheses. So you don't need it. If you want to, you can. Simplifying this, on the left we get y minus 2. On the right, subtracting a negative, same as adding a positive. If you distribute the 8 using the distributive property of equality, you're going to get 8x plus 48. If you add 2 to both sides to get y by itself, then you're going to get slope-intercept form, which is y equals 8x plus 50. Y equals m, which is the slope, times x, plus b, which is the y-intercept, slope-intercept form. Number 2, we're going to do it the same way. Point-slope form. If I simplify my signs, subtracting a negative 3 is like adding a positive 3. On the left, I'm going to get y minus 5. On the right, I did use the parentheses around this slope this time because it was negative. You don't have to do that. In most cases, I probably won't. But distribute the negative 3. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times a plus 3 is a subtract 9 or a plus negative 9. If you add 5 to both sides, then you're going to get y equals negative 3x minus 4. Number 3. Got y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times the difference of x and x sub 1. Y sub 1 is 3. Slope is negative 1/4. X sub 1 is negative 7. Subtracting a negative, it's like adding a positive. If you distribute the negative 1/4, you're going to get negative 1/4 x plus, or subtract, depending on how you want to write this. I'm going to write it as a plus a negative 7/4. To get y by itself, we have to add 3 to both sides. Now this negative 7/4, I can't really add a 3 to it because they don't have common denominators. So I can write 3 as 12/4. That's common denominators. Then when I add those fractions, when you do so, you add the numerators, not the denominators. Negative 7 plus 12 is 5. My work's kind of running together here, so I want to make sure I separate this to avoid confusion. So here's my answer. This next problem says to first write the point-slope form of the equation and then write the slope-intercept form. The reason it's asking you to write point-slope form first, it's just a baby step to get to the main attraction, which is slope-intercept form. To put it in point-slope form, you need a point and a slope. We have 2 points. We don't have a slope. We can find the slope Slope is delta y over delta x. Y values are 7 and negative 4. X values are negative 1 and negative 1. 7 minus a negative 4 is like 7 plus 4, which is 11. Negative 1 plus a negative minus a negative 1 is like negative 1 plus positive 1, which is 0. This has an undefined slope. If the slope is undefined, then you can't put it in point-slope form. So it's not possible. Also, you can't put it in slope-intercept form because it's slope-intercept. This is also not possible. We still want to answer the question though, and we're answering it loosely. We want to at least be able to write an equation of this line. If the slope is undefined, then it's got to be a vertical line. Vertical line is always x equals a number. To determine that number, look at your points. In both these cases, we're saying x is negative 1. If it's a vertical line and x is negative 1, then that means x is always going to be negative 1. So this is our answer, but it is not slope-intercept form and it's not point-slope form. Looks like I got some problems down here, which I apologize for. Same directions. So first we need to find the slope. Delta y over delta x. Y values are 9 and 2. X values are 7 and 5. It's going to give us 7 over 2 for the slope. Once you have the slope, put it in point-slope form. The directions say to. So we got y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times the difference of x and x sub 1. Pick either ordered pair. I'm going to use this one. So we got y minus 9 equals the slope of 7 over 2 times the difference of x and 7. So this here would be the point-slope form. I just got rid of my extra parentheses because they didn't have any value. Y minus 9 equals 7 halves times the difference of x and 7. Then the next thing it says, get it in slope-intercept form. To get it in slope-intercept form, we get y by itself. Before I do that, I want to simplify the right side. If I distribute the 7 halves, I get 7 halves x minus 49 halves. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. I think you'll agree that 9 is the same thing as 18 over 2. And I'm writing it that way because I have to add 2 fractions. I need to have them to be common denominators. Negative 49 and a plus 18 is going to give me a negative 31. So I can write minus 31 over 2. I can write plus a negative 31 over 2. So slope-intercept form is y equals seven halves x minus 31 over 2. Number 6, same kind of problem once again. Find the slope first. Slope is delta y over delta x. Y values are 4 and 1. X values are negative 2 and 3. It's going to give us 3 over negative 5 for the slope. Pick either one of these points. I'm going to pick this one this time. So point slope form, y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times the difference of x and x sub 1. Y sub 1 is 1, slope is 3 over negative 5, x sub 1 is 3. These parentheses have no value because there's no signs that need simplified, so point slope form is y minus 1 equals 3 over negative 5, or negative 3 over positive 5, or negative 3/5, depending on how you want to write it, times the difference of x and 3. Again, in slope-intercept form, distribute the negative 3/5. I subtract I have here, and then I'm going to have a positive 3 times a negative fraction. The positive times a negative is a negative. Subtracting a negative is adding a positive. This is going to become plus. That's my point. That's 9/5. Trying to get y by itself, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Can't add 1 to a fraction. So common denominators, I change the 1 to 5 over 5, and it's going to give me 14 over 5. So slope-intercept form is y equals negative 3/5 x plus 14/5. Use a graphing calculator to graph each function without erasing. For the slope is 1, the slope is negative 3, and the slope is 5. Explain how the graphs are alike and how they're different. You may or may not need a graphing calculator. The directions say to use one, so you're allowed to, but you don't have to use it. You'll notice that if I put these 3 different numbers in, the y-intercept is not going to change. So how are these graphs alike? All 3 graphs are lines and have the same y-intercept. Let's be specific, the same y-intercept of negative 1. How are they different? They're different because they all have 3 different slopes. The graphs all have different slopes, not different strokes, different slopes. What you talking about, Willis? Of 1, negative 3, and 5. So then number 8, it's a very similar question. It's virtually the identical answer. Pardon me for this, but I'm going to copy and paste this answer and then just change what needs to be changed. All 3 graphs are lines and have the same y-intercept of 2. In this case, the graphs all have different slopes of 1, negative 3, and 5. Forgot my period. Number 9. The equation of the sides of a triangle has these vertices. I'm sorry, write the equations of the sides of the triangle that has these vertices. What this means is we have to do the same thing that we did for some of these other problems. I forget which numbers, maybe 5 and 6. We have to do it 3 times. So in other words, we need to find an equation for segment AB. We need to find an equation for AC. And we need to find one for BC. We need to find all those equations. So let's look at AB first. To do AB, we need to first make sure we have a slope. It's delta y over delta x. Y values for A and B are 1 and negative 7. X values are 5 and 2. It's going to give us 8 over 3. Once I have that slope, I need to use point slope form because I have a slope and I have these points. This is kind of in the way. I'm going to move this. So y minus y sub 1 equals slope times the difference of x and x sub 1. I'm going to use the ordered pair 5, 1 with my slope. Get y by itself so it's in slope-intercept form. Leaving the equation in point-slope form is not helpful. It's a stepping stone. 8/3 times 5. You multiply the numerator times the 5. Multiply the 3 times the denominator of 1. So it's going to give us 40/3. Adding 1 to both sides. Adding 1 to a fraction, change it so it has common denominators. 3 over 3. So we get y equals 8/3 minus 37/3. So this is one of our equations. This is one of 3 answers. Organization is the key here, ladies and gentlemen. Next we have the AC. Let's find its slope. Okay, delta y over delta x. Y values for A and C, -7 and 2. The x values for A and C are 2 and -3. -7 minus 2 is like -7 plus a -2, which is -9. 2 minus a -3 is like 2 plus 3, which is 5. So here we have the slope. And if I use point slope form, I'm going to use C this time. Y value is 2. Slope I just found is -9/5. X value for C is -3. I'm going to change this to plus a +3. Distributing -9/5, I get -9/5 x minus, I have a negative here times a positive, which then in turn, if you want to make it a positive, you can make that negative. I know, that was confusing. Negative, 9 times 3 is 27, and then 5 times 1 is 5. You can either write subtract a +27/5, or you can write plus a -27/5. Either way. Add 2 to both sides. Got to change the way 2 looks here, so you have common denominators. 2 is the same as 10/5. It's going to give us y equals -9/5 x minus 17/5. That is another side of this triangle. Lastly, we got side BC. Let's find its slope. Delta y over delta x. Y values for B and C are 2 and 1. X values are -3 and 5. It's going to give us a 1 over -8, or -1/8. Once again, point slope form. Going to use B. Y value for B is 1. X value for B is 5. If I distribute the -1/8, if I add 1 to both sides, 1 is the same as 8 over 8. combine like terms, and I get y equals negative 1/8 x plus 13/8. So my answers are these three ovaled equations. Number 10. The tibia is a bone in the human body that connects the knee and the ankle. A man with a tibia of 38.5 centimeters long should be about 173 centimeters. A man with a tibia of 44.125 centimeters should be about 188 centimeters. Write a linear equation relating the length of tibia x to the height y. So x is tibia, y is height. So I need ordered pairs. It says up here that 13.8 belongs with 173 and that 44.125 belongs to 188. So my ordered pairs, 38.5 followed by 173, 44.125 followed by 188. So to write this equation, I need a slope. It's delta y over delta x. Y values are 188, 173. X values are 44.125 and 38.5. It's going to give me 15. I'm going to grab my calculator real quick. 44.125 minus 38.5 is 5.625. Here's something that I don't like, and in most cases I won't allow you to do this. So I'm not going to do it either. Having a decimal inside a fraction is not great. So how do we fix this? We need to figure out something that we can multiply the top and bottom by to get rid of this decimal. And the easiest thing I can think of right now is not pretty, but multiplying the top and bottom by 1,000. Ludicrous, I know. But this decimal place is the thousandths. So I multiply the top and bottom by 1,000, I'm going to get 15,000 over 5,625. That's not reduced. The top and the bottom you can divide by 25 for sure. It's going to give me 600 over 225. Looks like I can divide that by 25 again. I am using a calculator. And then that reduces, I can divide both of those by 3. Get 8/3. So I found the slope is 8/3. Before I continue, I just want to double check to make sure I wrote down the numbers right. 173 and 38.5, 188 and 44.125. Looks good, I think. Yep, looks good. So then to write the equation, I'm going to use point slope form because I have a point and a slope. So I'm going to use 38.5 and 173. If I distribute the 8/3, I'm going to multiply 8 times 38.5. I'm using a calculator. I get 308. Three does not go into that evenly. If I add 173 to both sides, common denominators. So I'm going to multiply 173, the numerator and denominator, by 3. This gives me y equals 8/3 plus 2/11/3. Oh, forgot my x. So my linear equation is this right here. How tall should a man be whose tibia is 40 centimeters long? We simply take this equation, replace the x with 40. Eight times 40 is 1, 2, 3, 20. Add that to 211. I'm going to get 5/31. We would expect that person to be about 177 centimeters tall. About, I mean, that's came out to be exactly that number. Sentence answer, it's a word problem. The man would be about 177 centimeters tall.